Uh, sure, Your Lordship. And regarding the civil right, yes, civil right is a very important right, and it is given. I do agree that the right to vote, the right to free, speedy trial, and the right to government services, and the right to public education, and also the right to the political. What do you say? They need to have a right to participate in the political status also. So maybe, yeah, if any of the civil right has been violated, I mean, then it should not. I mean, it should not be discriminated in terms of the LGBTQ. And also the fundamental right as they are being the citizen of the nation. Yes, it is very, very mandatory that although they are gays, lesbians, transgenders, they should be given with the fundamental right as a being born in the nation, irrespective of any religion, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, because they are human being, and the human right is supreme above all. And respect to the customs, I'd like my
All these things we
co-counsel
have
to
already
say.
covered, no? We have already covered about it.
Yes, Your Lordship.
We have covered all. Swati, have you got anything to add, madam?
I would like to cases, if uh, the lordship permits, I would like to just add on two
Yeah,
cases.
tell me. Yeah.
One is like the National Legal Services Authority versus Union of India. In that case, the Supreme Court recognized the third gender, and also there they supported, and they were entitled to the fundamental rights under the Constitution and also under the international law. So
I am not against it. I approved it already. That is already agreed. I only differ with you only on the customs and rituals. And I am not against fundamental right. I am only on the point of the customs. That's all. Otherwise, both of you agree with me to recommend to the Parliament to modify the Act.
so here, your lordship, ultimately, it is the
That will
question
be
of
the
dignity, love, and also like if we have to protect the same-sex couples against the violence and the forced marriages, the culture customs also should support them. And also in terms of hate or homophobia, so we have to come out of all these things, and we should support that community's custom.
the
So
community should have a custom. That community should have a custom. They should not come into the mainstream. See, I am not against the LGBT community. I want to protect their rights, everything. But their intrusion. I use the word intrusion to the customs and rituals of somebody else is a debating point here, worrying point here. Because our deed should be bringing peace and harmony in the society. Say, for
Your Lord.
example, now you might be aware of the Shabarimala case. Court
yes, your lord.
unnecessarily interfered into it, and then what happened? End of the day, court was criticized. We upheld the society, the fundamental right, but the customs was trampled upon. So again, it has gone to a larger bench whether court should interfere into customs. So till such time, we can also pause it.
Uh, your lordship, the council is not much over to that point.
Yeah, good. You know the Shabarimala issue, isn't it?
Yes, yes, your lordship. I
Shabarimala issue is also similar to this rituals and customs, right?
yes, your lordship.
So now the Supreme Court of India has referred the matter to the higher bench to discuss and decide whether court should interfere into the customs and rituals, because it's a very sensitive issue. That is why we'll do one thing. We'll pause that till we'll know about the Supreme Court decision. Then we can follow Republic of Replemento can come to a conclusion and dot on that. Okay.
Yes, your
Both of you have done very well. I had a very healthy discussion. I hope I will be having the same tempo with the respondents also. The time is up, isn't it, Mr. Grover? You completed, both of you. Do we need any extra time? Have you told all your points?
Yes, your
Your
lordship.
Lordship.
Okay, fine. You're happy with your submissions.
Yes, your lordship.
You're confident that you have submitted all what you wanted to submit.
Yes, your Lordship.
Yes, your
Both
lordship.
of you. Fine. All the best. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you,
This
Lordship.
is how you should be interacting. Right? Okay. Now we'll start with the respondents.
Good morning, sir. This is Team Code Kanika Adke and Piali Thatte, and we are the council for the respondents. Uh,
You're at Piali, no?
yes, your lordship.
Yeah.
Uh,
You are on. What are the issues that you are going to discuss, submit?
your lordship, I'll be dealing with issue 1 and 2, and my co-counsel will be dealing with issue 3 and 4. But before moving on to the issues, would the lordship mind if I could just emphasize on certain facts that the petitioners have missed?
I'll be only happy to know the brief facts of the case.
Definitely, Your Lordship, much obliged. Your Lordship, the main contention in the fact sheet is such that the Republic of Replimento is a secular, socialist, democratic, and economic republic consisting of peoples from different stratas of society and with different backgrounds, different orientations, and all of that. And we are also a member of the International Nations Organization. Once we've said that, there was an archaic law in our country which decriminalized uh, unnatural sex, and then later this was the same honorable court that held against it and then upheld the right to privacy and also upheld the and understood the importance of the LGBTQIA plus community in the country. Having said that, the LGBTQIA plus community wanted to guarantee their civil rights and wanted to have their civil rights be accepted in the constitution of the Republic of Replimento, and hence this petition is before the court. If the lordship permits, can I move to the first
One
issue?
minute. One minute. Do you have the power to represent?
I'm sorry, your lordship, your voice broke on mine.
Do you have the power to represent?
Yes, your lordship, we have the power to represent the state in this matter.
Okay. Now, how did this matter come to the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court has seized of the matter because the similar matter was in a lot of numerous subordinate high courts, and hence the highest court of Republic of Replimento has seized of this matter under Article 139.
Under what provision of law?
Article 139A, your lordship.
What does that say?
That the Supreme Court has the power to transfer cases to itself, and that
Fine,
it can.
fine. Go ahead.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, the first issue for contention that's there before this court is whether the Hindu Marriage Act and the Special Marriage Act can accommodate the members of the LGBTQI plus community in its ambit. Your Lordship, the Council for the Respondents would like to humbly submit that the answer to the above question is in the negative, simply because the term persons, as we see in both these acts, whether it be the Hindu Marriage Act or the Special Marriage Act, I will come to it point by point, starting with the Hindu Marriage Act, wherein in Hindus, marriage is considered as a sacrament. And the Hindu Marriage Act, which is codified, terms Hindu persons. I agree that the respondents completely agree that Hindu persons in no way says that there is a gender. But if we look at the preceding sections of the same act, there are terminologies such as bride and bridegroom that are used, which specifically state that the intention of the legislature was such to.
Thank you very much. I log out. That somebody expired in the
Pause for a minute.
Yeah, Your Lordship.
Just excuse me, somebody passed away. I'm told.
Much obliged.
speak to Mr. Bhattacharya, I think. Okay, right. Proceed. Sorry for the interruption.
Your Lordship, as I contended before, the term persons might seem liberal or might seem open or wide at the outset to the petitioners. But once we look very closely at the preceding sections of the same act, we realize that the intention of the legislature was such to ensure that the marriage that is there is a union between a man and a woman. It is very evident. As a matter of fact, all the ancillary rights that are governed after marriage, whether it be divorce, whether it be maintenance, whether it be adoption or succession, all these rights are strictly in the sense of male, female, husband, wife, and restricted to the cisgender binary, Your Lordship. Once that is contended, we must realize as a state that we are here to protect the people and protect the equality of people. This honorable court in the past has upheld and has reiterated the fact that the LGBTQIA plus community's identity in this country is recognized and they will be protected to the fullest extent of law. But the fullest extent of law has not been violated in the present case, Your Lordship, because the petitioners are contending that there is a violation of Article 14. Article 14, as we know, protects equality and ensures equal protection of the law. If Your Lordship permits, I will be explaining it through the two-fold test under Article 14.
1 minute before we go to Article 14. You have, please answer me. See, person is not in dispute for you. Preceding section, you are saying it is between a male and a female. Where is it showing that?
Your Lordship, if we look at the preceding sections, even if I may refer to the Bare Act, if you just give me a minute.
Fair enough, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, if we look at section 5, subclause 3, the bride and the bridegroom, they specifically state that there needs to be a male and a female, as well as if we look a little bit more.
1 minute. You are hearing the argument earlier also.
Yes, Your
With
Lordship.
the petitioner. See, is it telling, is it differentiating? Is it differentiating? It is only telling bride should be of this age, bridegroom should be of this age. Marriage should be between bride and bridegroom is not mentioned there.
Your Lordship, actually, if we look at this section as a whole, section 5 as a whole, it says that all these conditions must be satisfied for a marriage to be valid. So for
You please make me, you take the entire section 5 and tell me this particular code is telling it has to be between man and a woman.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. I shall be explaining the same. Your Lordship, if we look at section 5 a little bit more closely and the conditions that are to be fulfilled under section 5, if we look very, very closely, specifically at section 5, the starting of the section, as well as all the preceding subsections inside,
Please read it for me, no? Please read it for me.
Okay, Your Lordship. Much obliged. Conditions for a Hindu marriage. A marriage may be solemnized between any two Hindus if the following conditions are fulfilled, namely, neither party has a spouse living at the time of the marriage. Second subclause says, at the time of the marriage, neither party A is incapable of giving a valid consent to it in consequence of unsoundness of mind, or B, though capable of giving a valid consent, has been suffering from mental disorder of such of a kind or to an extent as to be unfit for marriage and the procreation of children. C, has been subject to recurrent attacks of insanity. The third subclause, Your Lordship, talks about the bridegroom has completed the age of 21 and the bride has to complete the age of 18 at the time of the marriage. The fourth subclause, Your Lordship, talks about the parties are not within the degrees of prohibited relationship unless the custom or usage governing each of them permits of a marriage between the two. And the fifth subclause, Your Lordship, talks about the parties are not subindas of each other unless the custom or usage governing each of them permits a marriage between the two. Your Lordship, if we look at all these sections cohesively and together and also individually, we realize that subsection 2.c, point B actually talks about procreation of children, which is something that will not be possible for the LGBTQIA plus community. The LGBTQIA plus community will prefer options such as artificial insemination or adoption, which is fair, but the rights to govern them will also not be granted because no law in this country at this juncture
So
actually.
you mean to say that section has to be stuck off?
No, Your Lordship. The respondents actually contend to say that the term persons, if interpreted liberally,
No, I'm talking about subsection B,
yes, Your Lordship.
procreation of children.
Yes, Your Lordship.
I think
So,
that subsection need to be struck off.
Your
It will go
Lordship,
against the interest. It will go against the interest of LGBT. No,
no,
their
actually, Your
fundamental
Lordship.
right, their fundamental right to have a marriage and adopt. You yourself said adoption and all those things. So this is standing in the way, isn't it?
Your Lordship, in the case of LGBTQIA plus, it does stand in the way because as biology governs, they'll not be able to have children of their own if they don't resort to options such as IVF or artificial insemination or adoption. So having said that, Your Lordship, adoption in this country has been legalized and there is a certain procedure that has been governed for that.
In that,
Having said
1 minute. In
procreate-
that, 1 minute. In that adoption, is LGBT community included?
No, Your Lordship. The LGBT community is not included because their marriage and their parenthood will not be included. So they'll either have to be single parents in the eyes of law, who will be the single.
So that
guardian.
is going against the basic tenets of law, isn't it? Of the constitution.
Your Lordship, actually, it's not going against the basic tenets of law because, as we see, Article 14 specifically talks about equality and equal protection of the law. There are
Yes.
two mechanisms wherein we can test this and if whether it's applicable in the present case. The first being that there needs to be intelligible differentia, where there is a certain set of people which will be treated, and then there'll be a certain set of people that will be left off. And the second being that once we have made that discrimination, there needs to be a rational nexus which connects the act or the object of the legislations. In the present case, Your Lordships, since these legislations are particularly pertaining to marriage, and this marriage of this community or members of this community has not been recognized inherently by itself, and now the petitioners seek that they be recognized under these laws, it is imperative to understand that the object of the act was never that. The object of the act was to consolidate all and amend all laws with reference to marriage for Hindu people and for other people in the case of Special Marriage Act. But
1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute. Pause it there. Is it not excluding LGBT?
Your Lordship, it is not excluding the LGBT community
Then-
because it
Then
was
what
not.
do you say for that? What do you say for that? See,
Uh,
you said, Madam, you have mentioned that in the Hindu Marriage Act and everything, in this thing, it is between male and female. Everything is fine, but their rights have to be protected, isn't it?
Your Lordship, their rights are protected.
And you have rightly pointed out about the procreation of children as a prohibition. So we need to strike off that,
Your
because
Lordship,
individuals' right cannot be trampled upon.
Your
They are
Lordship,
also human, isn't it? They are also human, made with flesh and blood. So we have to give them the equal right. Such condition, how? So
Your
I think
Lordship,
you will agree. You will agree that we can strike off this bill.
okay, Your Lordship, may I proceed with the submissions? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Your
Go
Lordship,
ahead.
actually, that particular clause, if we look at it closely, let me put it that way, that Hindu law is based on Shastras. The Shastras, when they were made, or on the basis of Shastras, it says that there is a certain patriarchal structure or there's a certain heteronormative structure that
1 minute. Please. we ourselves is going against the scriptures. We ourselves is going. As I quoted earlier, Manusmriti itself is very clear that man and woman has been created equally, not one above the other. So patriarchal society has been created by the preceding generations, isn't it? So that aspect we should not be discussing here. Let's not talk about the custom. Let's talk about the law.
Yes, Your Lordship. The law specifically states that the aims to have a let me put it this way, that the sole purpose of procreation of children is to have the unit of a family, which will be considered to be the valid unit in this society, in the society of Replimento.
We have got an adoption law.
Yes,
Why
sir.
should that be there? Why should it be there? Because there will be impediments for families to have children. So law is there for that. So then why we should insist only for the procreation and in order to make the family unit?
Your Lordship, actually, just coming to the same point, the law after a point realized that procreation cannot be the only way to have children. Hence, the laws for adoption have been made in the territory of Replimento. Having said that, when it comes to the LGBTQIA plus community, and in a situation where they want to be considered as a married couple, number one, and number two, then have children by way of adoption or IVF or artificial insemination, and then have the child recognized as their child in the eyes of law, is a process that in itself is considered invalid in the eyes of law at this juncture. And it is correct on the grounds that, Your Lordship, if there is a certain law that is made, for example, there's a certain law in this case, the marriage laws that are made essentially say that marriage under personal laws, or marriage which is governed by religion, in some religions it's considered a sacrament, in some religions it's considered as a contract. Having said that, the religion governs in what way the marriage has to be perceived if we are going by personal laws. And as Justice Krishna Iyer has said, that a person carries his personal law everywhere he goes. So if the LGBTQIA plus community is wanting to be recognized under these personal laws, in the light of marriage, they will not be recognized because, number one, there is no violation whatsoever, because there is no violation. They have been given the right to equality and they are recognized equally in the eyes of law. They are not recognized separately. They have been given, they can choose their partner, they can live with their partner. Only the current laws do not in no way prohibit the marriage. Number two,
so you suggest that we should recommend for an LGBT Marriage Act?
Your Lordship, may I answer?
So you suggest that we should recommend for an LGBT Marriage Act?
Your Lordship, actually the respondents would suggest that the term persons that is interpreted in these acts is not in consonance with what the petitioners say, and hence marriage for the petitioners should be considered in different light. In a scenario, if as my co-counsel will explain forward, why the customs and religions will not rituals will not be in consonance with the personal laws, and why marriage will not be recognized for the members of the LGBTQIA plus community. As a matter of fact, Your Lordship, as I stated earlier, the twofold mechanism under the twofold test under Article 14, it has, I mean, in a way I can put it forward that the respondents are claiming that this is a reasonable classification in the eyes of law. It is reasonable on the grounds that in a scenario, if I were to put it in a way that, as you had very aptly pointed out before, that the child that's going to be born, or the child that's going to be recognized out of an institution or out of the family that has members of the LGBTQIA plus community might necessarily have certain might necessarily have to face a certain discrimination after that child is born, and after that child is born, to first protect the rights of the child, to make that child mature enough to understand the discrimination or the disparities in the society, and then expect that child to actually go against the grain and say that this is what it is and this is what will be my reality. And if that child faces any untoward consequence after that, whom are we going to hold liable, Your Lordship? We'll not be able to hold anyone liable, because today at this juncture the society is not equipped to accept this.
That is what the petitioner also is telling. For that, we have to inculcate, educate them, educate the society to accommodate them, to see that the children who are being adopted and brought up will not be excluded in the society. So the society and the government is duty bound to educate the system in such a way that children who are being brought up by the LGBTQ community is not sidelined or seen with a different eye. That's what the petitioners are asking for.
Yes, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, if I can just explain it with an example, would you permit that?
Go ahead.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, we are living in a society where LGBTQI plus have been given their rights, their right to private life, their right to choose a partner, their right to live and express their orientation and identity has been absolutely validated by.
When all these things are given, why not the marriage be under Hindu Marriage Act when it is also clear by striking off that section?
Your Lordship, that would not be permitted on the simple ground that the institution as governed, or marriage under Hindu law as governed, does not recognize a marriage between a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or members of the LGBT.
Why do you say so? Why do you say so? If I have the power to strike out a section, do I have the power?
Yes, Your Lordship.
I have the power. So if I strike out the section B of subsection 2, then they come under the parameter of section 5 of the Act.
Your Lordship, if I can answer that a little succulently, I would like to say
Please.
Yeah, Your Lordship, the entire purpose why that section is there in the first place is that the normative structure of society would want that a family is born or a family has a child via the biological, or a child has a biological relation to his or her parents. That's the purpose of.
Madam, pause. Again, there only I am telling. Why then we have an adoption law?
Yes, Your Lordship. Coming to that this is what is the state or the legislation goes to the extent that as much as it is possible, or if it is possible,
So is it not a see? I understand what you're trying to say. For those people who are who doesn't have children, let them have adoption. Is it not again a bias against the LGBTQ community? If that is to be taken into consideration.
Your Lordship, that will not be considered as a bias against the LGBTQIA plus community, because if that person, the said member of the LGBTQIA plus community, is an unmarried person and seeks to have a child of his own via.
See, I am striking out that subsection 2 means LGBT is entitled for marriage. Fair enough. So when so that marriage is happening.
Okay. Your Lordship, on the grounds that if we validate or if we agree that marriage is valid under the Hindu Marriage Act, if I was to hypothetically admit that marriage under the HMA would be possible for the members of the LGBTQI plus community, even then, the entire proceeding, it would be expected of the court, number one, to interpret all laws which governs civil rights for the members of the LGBTQIA plus community to be interpreted liberally, or to tweak all laws is what the contention would be hypothetically. But
Their civil rights are not at question now. They are having their civil rights.
Yes, Your Lordship. They will have their civil rights only if their marriage is accepted, and if their marriage, even if is supposed to be accepted.
Again, you have agreed if we strike out this section B, then LGBT can be accommodated in Hindu Marriage Act section 5. You have agreed for it, right?
Beg your pardon, Lordship, but actually the respondents do not agree to that on the premise that the entire intention of that section is such that it goes beyond procreation of children, yes. It does guarantee adoption, yes. But does it include the members of the LGBT community just on the grounds of procreation of children for the marriage to be held valid? No, Your Lordship.
See, you might have heard the petitioner's argument. And see, person, bride, bridegroom, they're all on the same footing. Whereby same-sex marriage or gay marriage, everything is permitted.
Your Lordship, the sexual identity of the person, if we were to conform to this, to the suggestion made by you, the sexual identity of the person in the spectrum of LGBTQIA plus community would be restricted to those terms, and then person's interpretation has to be changed dynamically, not just like liberally, but dynamically the entire interpretation has to change. For example, even if we look at the Special Marriage Act, any two people can get married is what the Special Marriage Act says. But later in the subsequent sections, the Act clearly states that the marriage will be valid only if there is a marriage between a man and a woman. And the criteria of it being age 18 years and age 21 years respectively has also been given, is what the respondents are trying to claim in this argument, wherein we are trying to say that...
No, we will go to this Special Marriage Act later on. Under section 5, you agree?
Your Lordship, do I agree that subclause B be struck down?
Once if it is struck off, the LGBT community can be accommodated in the section 5 of the HM Act.
Your Lordship, the respondents do not agree to that on the simple grounds that the subsequent or the preceding application or implication of that is not something that would not necessarily completely accommodate the LGBTQIA plus community. Hence, on those grounds, striking down that section would be moot.
I didn't understand.
Could I explain it again, Your Lordship?
Yeah.
Your Lordship, if we look at section 5B closely, if I can just read it out again and try to...
that aspect, we are clear about it. You just tell me why same-sex marriage is prohibited once this procreation is not there.
So same-sex, Your Lordship, the same-sex marriage is prohibited on the simple grounds that the procreation of children is actually not the matter of contention.
We have decided to strike it off.
Okay, Your Lordship.
Once we strike it off, it will come into the ambit of it, isn't it? I'll give you the time.
Okay, Your Lordship. Thank you.
May you please think it over. Because once of course, procreation is a hurdle. You come with a very valid point, but you also will agree to the fact that it is going against the interest of one community. So for that reason, I've got the power to strike it off. So by striking it off, it will entitle the LGBT community to marry also. Isn't it? Now, Section 5, Special Marriage Act, can you please read it for me?
Much
Where?
definitely. Your Lordship, under the Special Marriage Act, Chapter 2, Section 4, it talks about conditions relating to the
Just read
solemnization
it
of
for me.
special marriages.
Just read it
Not
for me.
Definitely, Your Lordship. Notwithstanding anything contained in any other law for the time being in force relating to the solemnization of marriages, a marriage between any two persons may be solemnized under this act if at the time of the marriage the following conditions are fulfilled. Your Lordship, you want me to read the preceding subsections as well?
Conditions.
Okay, Your Lordship. A, neither party has a spouse living. B, neither party, one, is incapable of giving a valid consent to it in consequence of unsoundness of mind. Or two, though capable of giving a valid consent, has been suffering from mental disorder of such a kind or to such an extent as to be unfit for marriage and the procreation of children. Or three, has been subject to recurrent acts of insanity. Subclause C, Your Lordship, talks about the male has completed the age of 21 years and the female the age of 18 years. D, the parties are not within the degrees of prohibited relationship, provided that where a custom governing at least one of the parties permits of a marriage between them, such marriage may be solemnized, notwithstanding that they are within the degrees of prohibited relationship. And E, where the marriage is solemnized in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, both parties are citizens of India, domiciled in the territory to which the act extends. Your Lordship, if I could explain this, I would explain it in two parts. Number one being that Your Lordship. Section 4, subclause C particularly talks about male and female. So the word and, male and female, essentially talks that a marriage has to be between a man and a woman. It does not say that it can be between it can be with any other gender combination, Your Lordship.
It is exactly the same as in the HM Act, isn't it? Bride and bridegroom. Instead of the word bride and bridegroom, here we are using male and female. How do you say? It is not, it has to be between. It is and. So it's the same. So here also we have to just strike off that procreation.
Your Lordship, striking down the procreation clause under these acts would be a moot proposition because we already have acts that say that why legitimate children will be treated a certain way, why adoptive children will also be treated as legitimate children, and why illegitimate children will be treated a certain way. We already have enactments for that.
Illegitimate children are also having equal right?
Yes, Your Lordship.
So now that is ruled out, that we don't have to think about it. Children also, adopted children and legitimate children also on the same footing.
Yes, Your Lordship.
So I think even Special Marriage Act also is entitling them to marry.
Your Lordship, the term any persons or Hindu persons under both acts, even if it is at the outset, it does seem that persons can be interpreted liberally, yet the entire, if I can just explain it just for a minute, saying that suppose an LGBTQIA plus community hypothetically has gotten married under these acts and now seeks to get divorced under the same acts under which they have got married as a recourse to their marriage. So now in the preceding sections of the Act, Your Lordship, there is a clear mention of husband and wife and what are the rights of a wife, what are the rights of a husband. So, Your Lordship, in that case, with regard to the LGBTQIA plus community, what will happen is that we'll have to change the entire definition of husband and wife and make it all persons. And when
what is wife? Yeah, now you're on the point. What is husband? What is wife? Whether husband has to be male or female is the question. Now you're on the point. This is what you should have told me in the beginning.
Okay, Your Lordship. A husband
Once you
in this
say
in the
husband is gender, husband's gender is defined and wife's gender is defined. So that would have solved all these problems, right? Very good.
uh, much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, if the court permits, can I explain this issue briefly and move on to the next
Go
issue?
ahead. Go ahead.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, as I stated, husband and
1
wife
minute.
are.
How many minutes more for her, Mr. Grover?
She has 7 to 8 minutes left.
So you will be having less time in your second issue. I think you can pause this and go to second issue.
Okay, Your Lordship, much obliged.
Go ahead. What is the
this-
second issue?
The second issue basically contains that whether civil rights be granted to the members of the LGBTQIA plus community. The answer to the above question, Your Lordship, is to the above issue, Your Lordship, is that they cannot be granted because merely their marriage is not recognized. And marriage essentially comes with a bundle of rights. As I said, marriage would also entail succession, it would also entail adoption, it would entail a lot of rights that are created because of marriage. In considering the court and the state does not recognize their marriage to be valid, their civil rights also will not be valid.
1 minute. 1 minute. I just wanted to academically enlighten myself. If I am not married, I am not entitled for any of my father's property.
Your Lordship, you are entitled to that because as a matter of succession, your father is a married person. So by way of that, you are entitled to that property via succession.
And am I not entitled to purchase property?
Your Lordship, you are entitled to purchase property.
So where is the problem about acquisition of property? Where is the problem comes?
Your Lordship, these problems
For
arise.
the LGBT community, how does it prohibit?
Your Lordship, the entire premise here is such that the civil rights that are arising only if a marriage is considered valid for the members of the LGBTQI community, and then
No, I'm not talking about marriage. You said about the acquisition of property.
Yes, Your Lordship, I was trying to say that marriage is a bundle of rights that creates all these other rights ancillarily. I'm not saying that the LGBTQI plus members cannot purchase property in their individual capacity, but in a scenario if they want to get married under these acts, which is currently invalidated, and then seek to have a child and give that property to the child, there is no law in this country that currently provides for the same, Your Lordship. Your Lordship, as a matter of fact, the petitioners claim that there is a discrimination that is there against them under Article 15 in the present issue. Your Lordship, the issue is such that there is absolutely no discrimination. There is no violation of Article 15 inherently on the premise that the petitioners have understood discrimination to be breach of equality, and that is not the same. Discrimination on the grounds of sex is not done on them, is not done towards them, I'm sorry, because their sexual identity and orientation has been accepted by this court and it has been upheld by the court. So to claim that Article 15 has been violated is not a contention that can be made in the present issue. Moving on, that their right to life has been violated, Your Lordship. There is a test of reasonableness that is there, which says that there needs to be the law needs to be just, fair, and reasonable, and it should protect the right to life and personal liberty of everyone. The Puttaswamy judgment, Your Lordship, said that the right to privacy or the right to life is not an absolute right, and there are reasonable restrictions which the test of reasonableness says and entails. Your Lordship, the current issue which talks about civil rights specifically states
Can you please explain that reasonableness?
I'm sorry, Your Lordship, I could not hear you.
As per Puttaswamy, what is reasonableness?
Your Lordship, reasonableness is
Is that judgment with you? Is that judgment available with you?
Yes, Your Lordship, if you could just give me
Please
1
read
minute.
it out for me.
Yes, Your Lordship, if I could just get a minute.
I only wanted reasonableness.
Just a moment, Your Lordship. Yes, Your Lordship. Paragraph 369 of the said judgment basically states that, but this is not to say that such a right is absolute. The right is subject to reasonable regulations made by the state to protect legitimate state interests or public interests. However, when it comes to restrictions on this right, the drill of various articles to which the right relates must be scrupulously followed. With regard to under Article 21, it must be read with Article 19, and it also must be read with Article 14, is what the judgment briefly states, Your Lordship.
How it is relevant in our case?
Most certainly, Your Lordship. I'll explain that. Your Lordship, when we are the state interest or the persuasive state interest in the present case is to protect the rights of the larger section of society, to protect the matrimonial rights that currently exist in this in the society.
It has to give protection to everybody's right,
Yes,
not to majority. You are giving a wrong interpretation of the constitution.
Your Lordship, I was completing it by saying that when we talk about the persuasive state interest that's involved with regard to marriage, that persuasive state interest is already guaranteed. The Constitution is guaranteeing that. Additionally, the Constitution is also not denying the LGBTQIA plus members is not committing a violation of their rights in any way, because if that was the case, Your Lordship, their mere identity would have not been recognized, which was the case 3 years back. Their identity has been recognized, their life has been, their right to life has been recognized. The state does not interfere in their decisions. What the state currently says, and the respondents here are claiming that the state in no way has the right currently to accept and acknowledge their marriage to be valid, because the legislations that they're seeking to get married in do not accept their marriage and do not accept the union, to be specific.
Okay, right.
So
Thank you.
Okay, Your Lordship, much obliged. If I'll just brief it up and I'll hand it over to my co-counsel, Your Lordship. So, Your Lordship, there are, to brief the two issues that I just stated, there are essentially 4 articles that are involved: Article 14, 15, 19, and 21. Now, if we were 15, the only relevance of 15 in the present case is that their sexual identity and orientation has been upheld. The rest of the 3 articles, which are considered to be the golden triangle in the Constitution of Replimento, are completely valid and they are not violated because they do fulfill the test of justness, fairness, and reasonableness, and they are reasonably classifying this set of people, at the same time also not violating any of their rights, Your Lordship. And that will be my submissions for respondent 1. I would request my co-counsel to continue with the rest of the issues. Much obliged, Your Lordship.
Good.
Permission
Thank
to
you.
continue.
You
Permission
may
to
go
continue
ahead.
with 3 and 4.
Before we start, you were raising your hand to add some point to her. What was it?
Your Lordship, that was mainly the point that she came to later, the fact that the 2 legislations specifically refer to the words husband and wife much later in the sections, and husband and wife as intended by the legislature means a male and a female. Your Lordship, should I begin with issue number 3 and 4?
Go ahead.
Your Lordship, the council shall be clubbing the 2 issues and answering them together.
Yes.
To begin with, what are customs? Your Lordships, the Halsbury law defines customs, and I quote, a custom is a principle which has existed since time immemorial and has received power of law in a specific territory. So essentially, customs have been made long back, and some of them have also got acceptance by law today. They have been codified and placed into various enactments. The test of a valid custom, as was held by Hartpurchas versus Shio Dayal, there are 3 conditions for the test. If it qualifies, then that custom is a valid custom. The first is that it should be ancient. The second is it should be certain. And the third is that it should be reasonable. Now, Your Lordships, the state of Replimento is a secular state. There are people from across various backgrounds living here, people who follow religious beliefs, people who have different personal laws. These customs are an integral part of the personal laws. For instance, the custom of Saptapadi, your lordships, has been included in the Hindu Marriage Act and is now an essential condition for the valid solemnization of marriage under Hindu law. Similarly, the concept of Ashirwad, which is essentially a custom, has been included in the Parsi Marriage Act and is essential for the solemnization of marriage. So,
Pardon
your
me.
lordships,
At the Parsi Marriage Act, what is it?
the concept of Ashirwad.
What is that?
Your lordship, it's a custom that has to be followed for the valid solemnization of marriage under Parsi law.
Can you just little bit more elaborate it to me?
Your lordships, if I could have a moment, I will answer that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, your lordship, just a moment. Your lordship, just like the Hindu marriage law has the custom of Saptapadi, that is, they have to fulfill that custom such that the marriage becomes valid. Similarly, under the Parsi marriage law, there is a custom called Ashirwad where they have to acquire the blessings of their respective members or families for that marriage to be considered valid. So what the council here is trying to emphasize is that customs are a very important part of personal law and they cannot be changed, your lordships. They do form an exhaustive code. To give another example, your lordships, section 7 of the Hindu Marriage Act states that Hindu marriage may be solemnized in accordance with customary rites and ceremonies by either party. This means that if other than Saptapadi, if the party has any other custom that is followed in their community, they are allowed to get married by following that custom. This essentially means that there exists an exhaustive list of customs in every single community that has to be followed for their marriage to be recognized as valid by law. Marriage is essentially a concept that comes under personal law, your lordships. Article 44 of the Constitution also places a significant importance to personal law. Article 44 states that the state should endeavor to have a civil code at a future date. However, the present condition of the state of supplemento is such that we cannot have that civil code because having a uniform civil code would essentially violate the rights and powers given to each person under their respective personal law. Marriage is a fundamental, like my co-counsel has also stated, the recognition of marriage is important for the LGBTQ community to get their ancillary civil rights such as the recognition of their children, the recognition of inheritance of property from their respective spouses, which will not happen because their marriage itself is refuted by personal law. Personal law does not recognize homosexuality, and to substantiate the same, your lordships, if the council could provide an example of the law or the religion of Islam specifically, Islam prohibits or forbids homosexuality, and the rationale that they have provided for the same is that the definition of Islam is any person who follows is basically complete and total servitude and submission to their God. So they cannot question the God, they cannot have any hesitations while following whatever their God has determined. And their God basically, or their scripture essentially says that homosexuality is not accepted. So now in such a scenario, your lordships, if we were to provide, even if we were to, for example, provide the LGBTQ permission to marry under the Hindu marriage law, they will not be allowed to marry under the Muslim law, which will in itself result in more violation of their rights, because it will be arbitrary to allow one community to get married under one law and not under the law. To add to this, your lordship, as my co-counsel also stated, Article 21 and Article 14 and 15, as the petitioners are contending that this is violative of their rights. These rights are not absolute. As my co-counsel stated, in the Puttaswamy judgment, it has been very clearly stated that these rights are not absolute. They are subject to state regulations as long as they're reasonable. Now, your lordships, in order to protect these personal laws, it is essential, it is crucial that the LGBTQ community is not included within their ambit because they're not recognized by the personal law. In addition to this, your lordships, as has been held in the case of State of Bombay versus Narasappa Mali, in that judgment, the very landmark judgment, personal laws are not subject to fundamental rights. They are not subject to Part 3 of the Constitution. And the reasoning provided for the same by Justice Gajendra Gadkari was that the state, the legislature has expressly provided Article 17 in our Constitution, prohibiting the custom of untouchability. Essentially, untouchability is a custom and it has been expressly prohibited. So if the state wanted to prohibit more customs, they would have either not put a separate article for it, or they would have included the same in Article 13. But because there exists an express provision prohibiting a specific custom, it is reasonable to justify the fact that personal laws are not included in the ambit of Article 13 and are thus not subject to fundamental rights, by virtue of which they do not violate the rights of the LGBTQI+ community. Additionally, Your Lordships, as Your Lordship also stated, in the case of the Indian Lawyers Association versus the State of Kerala, the Sabrimala judgment, where Justice D.Y. Chandrachud has dissented with the opinion of the Narsoppa Mali judgment. Admittedly, he has some issues with the reasoning of Justice Gajendra Gadkari. However, and to quote what Justice D.Y. Chandrachud has opined in his judgment, is that activities connected with the status of individuals cannot be granted constitutional immunity merely because they have some associational feature which has a religious nature. Now, the key word that the council here is trying to emphasize are the words associational features. Marriage as a concept is not just an associational feature, Your Lordship. Marriage is a fundamental concept that comes entirely under personal law. And since the personal laws do not recognize the validity of the marriage of the LGBTQIA+ community, therefore denying them the same does not amount to any violation of their fundamental rights. Additionally, Your Lordships, the petitioners in their contentions have admitted that that there should be a separate provision for the LGBTQI+ community in the Hindu Marriage Act, such that they don't have to follow Saptapadi. So by saying so, they have admitted that they don't want to get married under the existing religious rituals anyway, which is the issue in the present case. And additionally, they have also stated that just a moment, Your Lordship.
No, but I want to ask you one thing. See, you say they are not to be accommodated into any of these marriages. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
As per your contention, this community cannot be accommodated into any of these marriages, you say, customs wise. But at the same time, you are agreeing to get them married. So how will you solve that problem?
Your Lordships, the council here is trying to state the fact that their marriage will not be recognized by law. The council is not trying to say that they should get married. The council here is attempting to say that the personal law is not recognized.
See, all these marriage laws are entitling them to marry. Fine. So when they are entitled to marry, how then, he is born into a Hindu family or into a Christian family. Then which custom he should follow for the marriage? When you say marriage is accepted, when marriage is accepted under Special Marriage Act or HM Act, which custom we should follow then? Can you throw him out?
Your Lordships, the council will clarify what the council has said. The LGBTQI community cannot marry under the personal law. The council is not trying to say that they can marry. They cannot marry under the personal law.
No, but we have
Because
concluded.
there is no such provision.
But we have concluded. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Yes.
they cannot marry under their respective religions or their respective personal laws, because there are no provisions for the same, because their
Yes.
personal law refutes their gender identity,
So
especially some of religions.
what is your suggestion? What is your suggestion for their marriage?
Your Lordship, the council cannot hear you.
You can recommend to your government to come out with a act, LGBTQ act, marriage act.
May I answer, Your Lordship?
Hindu marriage act is there. Parsi marriage act is there. Christian marriage, special marriage act is there. Like that, one LGBTQ act can be recommended by you to your state, since you are representing the state.
May I answer, Your Lordship?
Yes.
Your Lordships, in the present, the LGBTQI plus community members are specifically asking for recognition under the personal law. They want the personal law to be interpreted in a manner to include them, which is not possible. The present matter consists, as the petitioners have been stating throughout, that law can be interpreted openly. However, interpreting the law openly will only infringe upon the intention of the legislature, Your Lordships, because the intention of the legislature was only meant for male and female marriage. Therefore, their contention of being included in the personal law cannot stand legally, because personal laws are not subject to fundamental rights, as the council has stated. And as far as having a separate law is concerned, Your Lordship, even if that is hypothetically allowed, their own religion is not going to recognize that marriage in any case, Your Lordships, because like I also stated, Islam, for example, expressly prohibits homosexuality. So Muslim man will not be able to marry under any other law, even if there is a new law, because it is prohibited by his own religion. And then if we say that a Hindu
No,
homosexual can
one
marry
minute.
under,
Why? How did this Special Marriage Act come into force?
it was meant for interfaith marriage, Your Lordships. So if a
So
person from different religion want to
interfaith marriage was not agreed in the ancient times. Now they have agreed now. So like that, why don't be there a act for LGBT community, marriage act?
Your Lordships, interfaith marriage has not been expressly forbidden by any personal law, as much as the existence or the identity of the homosexual community it has been forbidden. So to compare in the interfaith marriage with marriage of the LGBTQ community will not be a fair comparison, Your Lordship, because they are two entirely separate matters. When people
No. See, the thing is that was a prohibited issue. Now it has come into force. Now this is also we are evolving. Evolution is happening. Now we have to protect the interests of this community, isn't it? How do we give relief to them? They have come to me for a relief. I have to give them a relief, isn't it? I cannot tell them you suffer like this.
Your Lordships,
Give me a way out.
Your Lordships, even if there was a separate, Your Lordships, the simple fact of matter is that marriage as a concept is entirely in the realm of personal law. So, like you said, there has been evolution, society has changed. The council completely agrees to that. The Honorable Court is an example of the same by decriminalizing consensual sexual acts between the homosexual persons. They have an example for this evolution of the same. However, Your Lordships, marriage, they're completely allowed to have a partnership. They can have children. They can have a live-in relationship. But marriage as a concept cannot exist for them, Your Lordships, because their religion itself will negate the same. So even if they get married, because there have been instances, Your Lordships,
I'm
of
not on
people.
that. I'm not on that. I'm just asking you now, like how Special Marriage Act has come, Hindu Marriage Act has come. Why don't we come out with a special act, separate act for this community?
Your lordships, because
Can you
that will
not?
infringe on. Sorry.
Can you not? Can you not recommend to your state legislature for that? Because they are suffering, isn't it? That's why they have come to me. So we have to give some relief to them, isn't it?
Your lordships, the council for the respondent would like to contend that their rights have been recognized by the state. The only difference is that
That's
if
what
we were to make a
that is where the core issue is. Every rights have been recognized, but you cannot marry. Is it right? Is it fair? Is it a fair play? You are allowed to do everything, but you should not eat. How is it possible? So we have to have some remedy, isn't
your
it?
lordship,
Some relief we have to work out. I have accepted all your
may I answer
arguments.
your lordship?
I have accepted all your submissions. But my issue is they have come to me for a relief. I cannot tell them to suffer like this, isn't it? So for that, what do you recommend?
Your lordship, to answer your previous question first in one line, and then I will answer this question. Why not a separate law? Because it will simply infringe on the personal law. And to answer this question, the way out could be civil partnership, your lordship. Civil union is a concept that is being followed in in Western countries. However, marriage in our country will not allow that union. So we can give a different term
Civil
to that.
union. What is civil union?
It's a civil partnership, your lordship, where their rights are recognized, but it is not recognized. It is not at the same stature as marriage.
Okay.
Am I audible, your lordship?
I could hear. Amit or Swati, anything to answer on that?
Your lordship, like I would like to tell, like as the respondent is stating that their marriage cannot be recognized, that means their main rights has been violated. So that is the reason like the petitioner on the LGBTQIA community is telling that they have to be included in the marriage. And also once the marriage is recognized, only then they also do get the stand and also register and obtain the benefit of the said act. And as they are
Kanika,
also
Kanika, answer that. Madam, please answer that.
Yes, your lordship. So, your lordship, like I have stated, allowing them to marry will infringe on all the personal laws, your lordship. We have to remember that Replamento as a state is a mixture or a combination of various religions, and it's a very delicate balance that the state has to maintain. Allowing the LGBTQI plus community to get married in itself will infringe on all of these rights, which is why that cannot be done, which is why the only way out is as has been suggested.
Okay. With
Which
it,
will
we'll,
maintain a delicate balance between the two.
time is there for them, Mr. Grover?
So, 3 minutes, 4 minutes are left. So 4 minutes.
Anything else that you want to, Kanika and Pyali? Anything else you want to add up?
Your lordships, the petition have contended that the right to education, there's some issue with the right to education with respect to the LGBTQ.
No, we are not talking about the. Now we are not talking about the education. We are only talking about the marriage.
The council would only like to reiterate what the council has stated, that allowing their marriage will be a infringement upon the personal laws. It will take away the sanctity of personal laws, which are crucial for the balance on which our country works. And with that, the council would like permission to move on to the prayer.
Move on to the
Prayer.
Prayer.
Lordship.
Yes, go ahead.
In the light of the issues raised, arguments stated, and the authorities cited, the counsel for the respondent humbly prays before this honorable court to dismiss, first of all, to dismiss the petitions filed by the petitioner. This has been divided into 4 subcategories for convenience. That is, first, to not interpret persons in a manner to include the LGBTQI plus community, to not grant them civil rights, to declare that the customs and rights form an exhaustive code, and lastly, to declare that allowing them to marry under personal law would infringe upon the personal law, which is why they cannot marry using the rituals under the personal laws, and to grant or issue any other direction or order that the court deems fit in the interest of justice and good conscience. And for this act of kindness, the respondents would forever be grateful and obliged to this honorable court.
Good. All of you have done extremely well. I am now in a very big fits as to how I will put the marks for you. Let's see what's the results going to be. And a few things I would suggest is, certain languages like yeah, yes, instead of yes, you should not use yeah. That will go against the decorum. And there is no much need of calling lordship frequently. You can go with the matter, and where you can even use at places at this court. Okay. All of you have your decorum, everything is excellent only, except for these small kind of things. And you have presented your case very well. I'm happy about it. Let's wish the best team will go for the finals. All the best. God bless you.
Thank you, respected sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I would
Any
like to add one point.
query from your side?
So one point here.
Any query you got to clarify from me?
Sir, I don't have a query, but I would like to add a point here.
Yeah.
Sir, first of all, I would like to thank you for giving this opportunity, and it was very much helpful for your guidance, and it was a completely different kind of a round, like a very effective, and it was quite challenging. And also, I would like to say thanks to my opponent team, because from the first round we both were together, like we were against one another from the first round, so it was very nice. And yeah, thank you. And whichever team goes forward, I would like to wish them a good luck, and also in the future for them. Thank you.
Good.
Thank
All
you
the
so
best. God bless you all. Anybody else have got any query that you would like to clarify from me? Anything like that?
No, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was a privilege and an honor for us to have this discussion on law with you, and we are forever grateful for this opportunity that's come our way. Thank you so much,
See,
sir.
I only showed you a court should happen like this. If it is a discussion, you will be able to express yourself much better than just reading out. Let it not be a monotonous one. Always converse with the judge. And all judges will not budge for a conversation, but you have to use your talent to converse with the judge. That's what I want to tell you. That is the most important thing in our profession. And you should be very punctual. Punctuality itself will give you 60 to 80% of the score in your case. If you're punctual to, and if you're serious in the matter, be it a losing case, if you're very seriously pursuing that case, judge himself will be inclined to help you out. So these two things you have to be very careful, and never rub the court on the wrong side. Try to go in line with him, understand him, and if you differ with what he is telling, the judge is telling, try to move away, seek a short time, let him take a breath, let him have some time to ponder. Maybe his mind may change, because change is the essence of life, right? Bhagavad Gita says so. So change is happening. So what happens, what I thought now may be different after some time. So always if you're at if you're driven to a corner, try to get a breathing time for yourself so that you can put it. And you people have been doing it very well. When I was putting a question, you were manuring it very well. So I like that art. That art you have to improve. You have to be very punctual, serious to the issue, and every time law need not be right. You may be on your wrong wicket, but still, so many things can happen. So you be pursuing with the case. And how many of you are planning to go for litigation? I think all of you will be suitable for litigation. And initial days will be tough.
Thank you so much.
Initial days will be tough, but it is a very great learning experience for your future. Take everything positively. Every day you will be learning something or the other in the court proceedings. So every day learn something or the other. And I used to tell my interns who used to come here that try to take the law dictionary and take out one word and study that. Throughout your life, you have got one word to study. Take one section of any of the act, be any of the act, just read it. Don't by heart it, just read it. It may come handy for you. If you're going to the market also, learn something from his attitude, which may come for you in the trial or in your court proceedings. Okay, wish you all the best. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Again, once again.
Thank you, sir.
Manu sir, you want to say something?
Nothing. Court master, kindly remove only the participants. You can retain the volunteers. And we also have our co-judge Tariq sir in the room. So just remove the court masters, the participants only from the room.
Tariq sir was there. Right?
He's there. Tariq sir.
So I could have taken my opinion of my brother judge. I didn't know that.
No, sir. I was just learning from you all.
My God.
So Tariq sir, we are deeply obliged that you have conducted your rounds and the students have been extremely happy with your rounds, sir.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure and I had a great time.
Thank you so much, sir. We will be sharing the link of the recorded session on the website and we'll forward the same to you as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Manav.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'll seek your leave now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
All the best, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Thomas, sir, you have to mark. And,
I'll go to my mail.
Yes. And you have to just click that link and.
Sir, do you want me to do that? I can share my screen.
Yeah, just share your screen, Anjali. Sir will tell the marks. 1 second, sir. She'll share her screen. Anirudh, you can stop recording the session now.